Did you notice the little mistakes throughout the show? Or the hidden references and symbols that even a plush can represent? Today I'm going to share 22 things you didn't notice in Spy X Family's first season. 1. In episode 10, there are 2 references to Dragon Ball. The first one is in the epic version of the playground in Damien's mind. This looks very similar to Frieza's Death Ball. 2. The second reference comes when Anya, who had previously put on a headband similar to Bardock's, throws the dodgeball just like he throws his attack on Frieza. Bill even looks identical to Bardock when he dies. 3. The way that Yor stopped the cow in Eden's school admission interview is a technique used in real life called Kyusho Jutsu that works with the body's pressure points. Therefore, you gotta learn about anatomy and where these pressure points are if you want to use this technique. If Yor was able to use it on a cow, that means she has gone that far to either understand anatomy to the point of being able to guess where the cow's pressure points were, or she took the time to learn them. And if that doesn't make her even more impressive, I don't know what does. 4. In the ending song, Anya is sitting on the same chair that's on the front page of the manga's second volume. 5. Anya's Chimera plush seems to be a very symbolic item in the show. I've read so many theories about it, but I think the one that piqued my curiosity the most was being aware that a chimera is basically a union of animal parts that shouldn't combine. But they do, just like the Forger family getting together a spy, an assassin, and a telepath. But it definitely ends up working out. 6. You could also compare Anya's Chimera and Damien's Griffin, the creature he wanted to make for their arts and crafts class in episode 17. You see, both are mythical creatures whose bodies are composed of body parts of different animals, just like they both are kids who don't fit perfectly into their reality, but they're related to very different ideas. While griffins are related to power, royalty, wisdom, and courage, and even were seen as treasure guards, the Chimera is seen as a bad omen. It's thought that they bring chaos to those who see her, which makes sense with their vibes. Damien tries to be the perfect kid for his family, and Anya is a chaotic girl who brings a lot of fun stories for her parents. 7. There was a big mistake that got repeated in more than one episode. Did you notice that in episode 3 and in episode 7, Anya's name on her door sign is written with an I instead of a Y, but thankfully, it finally got changed in episode 12. 8. When Yuri accused Lloyd and Yor of being in a fake relationship, they made a supposed heart with their hands, but we can see that it looks more like a peanut, just like Anya's favorite snack, which makes a lot of sense since she's basically the base of the relationship. 9. If you pay attention to episode 5, when Yor is thinking of what she would do if none of the students withdrew, leaving Anya out of Eden, you can notice the name of her victim in English is Zachary Feiss.
I want one thing, Secretary Zachary Feiss.
But in Japanese, it sounds nothing like that. His original name is Kenieru, a pun for the Japanese word for sacrifice. And as you might notice, his name in English is also a pun for sacrifice. 10. We know how Anya says that her mother's teachings never work, but at least at the very beginning, they actually do. Without realizing it, her punch saved her from the heavy bullying Damien and his minions had planned for her, and her smile along with the excuse she gave for hitting Damien was the base of Anya's friendship with Becky. 11. On the waiting list to be admitted to Eden in episode 5, there's a girl called Grace Fine, 3 positions behind Anya. But in the next episode, we see that she also got in.
Grace Fine.
She's in the same class as Anya, and Lucy Garrett, right above Grace, got in class too.
Which one will take me?
I have no idea.
I wonder which class Gustav Mueller got. 12. I noticed that if you pay attention to the clock that appears twice in episode 2, you can tell how much time Yor spent waiting for Lloyd before going to the party. The first time we see the clock, it is 6:05, and she already says Lloyd is awfully late. And the second time we see it, it's at 7:30, when she finally decides to stop waiting and go to the party by herself. So we can tell Yor spent more than an hour and a half waiting for him. I know most wouldn't have waited for more than 5 minutes. I just know she would have had a better time waiting if she was subscribed to Mini Katana, so she could have watched all our amazing content while waiting for Lloyd to get there. And they would have arrived together at the party and had a good time from the beginning. 13. Also, when the clock is in focus, it lets us see a big mistake. You just have to zoom in on the legend it has below, and you'll notice that all it says is, add your text to personalize here, multiple times. I bet they told the animator that it was always going to be out of focus, so he didn't put much thought into it. 14. This is not the only time in which whoever is in charge of the additional text in the anime takes the easy path. In episode 2, when Lloyd is trying to remember Yor's profile, we can see the profile of many other women. Most are called Lene Platts, and coincidentally, they all have the same birth date and certification number. 15. And do you remember Gustav Mueller, the kid who was right behind Anya on the waiting list? Well, I was trying to find his name in the scores published, but I didn't find him. Instead, I realized that some of the names get repeated on the list, such as Gaston Adkins or Selena Gazard. And there are a couple more around there. 16. Not only that, but in that same panel, they wrote Becky's name as Becky with an E on it. Yeah, I think double-checking things would save a lot of time on these things. But that would leave us with less to talk about. 17. Also, Wise keeps track of Spy's underwear. In episode 5, we get to see on screen Lloyd's profile, and you can read pantsuit, black. 18. Did you notice that after messing up the ketchup on the omelet, Lloyd takes that omelet for himself and gives Anya and Yor the good ones? Now that's what I call elegant. 19. At the end of episode 12, there's a slight reference to the song of the opening and the band that plays it. In the final scene, they go out to buy Anya some nuts, and the brand name is Mazakoze Nuts. And if you Google what Mazakoze means in Japanese, it says something like mixing up or mixed. So Mazakoze Nuts translates to mixed nuts, the name of the opening song. And the little mascot on the package references the name of the band, which is Official Hige Dandism. Interestingly, this is the last episode with that opening. 20. The Project Apple is a direct reference to when the Nazis led Germany and were working to create the German Shepherd, a supposedly superior dog breed. 21. In episode 20, when one of the people Anya chooses to give her code to is the mailman. When I saw him, his face seemed quite familiar. So I went back to the first episode in the after credits scene, and guess who I found? It's the same mailman. I'm glad he has a stable job. 22. It seems that James Bond is not the only spy referenced in the anime. Remember that Anya's application number to Eden was 212? Well, this could be a reference to the film Tokyo File 212, a spy thriller from the 50s. Which detail surprised you the most? What are some other secrets hidden around that you know of? Let me know in the comments down below. You can leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our content. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.